Greetings and welcome to Jefficho Films. Today we're going to talk about a 1990 horror thriller murder mystery with a serial killer on the run and the cops teaming up with the FBI to hunt him down. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about Rain Killer. This movie starts out about a news report about a gruesome murder, and it's very rainy. We get this woman who's being followed by this annoying piano sound, and she gets on a train. The wrong train. Her body is discovered, and then Detective Capra shows up, and he gets a description and not much else. Ah, the 90s, when cops could drink at work and not worry about anything else. The captain tells him this kill is similar to another one in Brentwood. The next day the cops are talking, spitballing ideas. Both women were killed when it was raining. Rain, it gets everywhere, it soaks in. Maybe the killer hates rain. The parking lot garage, never a safe place in a horror movie. And our killer takes another victim.
There's something wrong with the... Somebody help me!
The captain tells Capra that the FBI are getting involved and that all three victims were members of the sewing circle. Also, Chiklis has hair. It's never rained so much in LA, and the cops are out on the street using Maggie as a decoy, and she's grabbed by a creepy dude, but they bust him. Turns out to be the FBI guy, Dalton.
Oh, what do we have here, huh? What the fuck do we have here, huh? What are you, the Lone fucking Ranger, or what?
Federal agent, you dumb shit.
Lieutenant, hold it. Check out this ID. Come on, man, it looks like a fucking ad for GQ.
Capra and Dalton go to talk to a lead, the guy that put Elizabeth into witness protection. She was a train victim. And then we learn about the sewing circle, kind of a drug rehab for all these women. It had over like 100 members. And then we find out Adele, Dalton's ex, was in the sewing circle. So they get drunk and they talk about her, and then they go see her, and they're just obnoxious.
Wesley seems to be moving in slightly different circles these days.
I'm sorry, it's so late and we're so shit-faced.
The next day they go see Sarah Keller, who's the chairperson of the sewing circle. Great name, guys, I just love saying it. They get a list off of her members, and then Capra goes to check up on Adele. Capra struggles with his moral compass, briefly, before they do it. Then off to the strip club, where only in the 90s would a girl dance to this.
What'll it be, Mac?
Got a beer?
Sure. 2-drink minimum, $10.
Unestablished dude shows up, buys some beers, and pays $100 for Satin. Now I wasn't sure if that was for a lap dance, but no, it was for sex. And then the pimp sits down and tries to get in on the action, but the dude scares him off. Pimp jumps him outside, but doesn't fare too well. Off to the hotel room where he gives her some blow and lots of money. Satin's real name is Kathy.
Call me Dick.
Jesus. I don't know if I can handle that.
His suitcase is full of knives. I mean, if it wasn't out of nowhere, I'd totally think he was the killer. And he ties her up. But then we jump to Dalton, who's on a stakeout. But he's actually not just stalking his ex-wife and sees Capra walk out. But then we jump back to Kathy, who's OD'd. And the dude freaks out and he runs and he's paranoid. Terrible driver. Runs over a pedestrian. Gets the cops' attention and he can't escape them. And they find his suitcase. His name is Jordan Rosewall, and he has a lot of money. He also has knives, sex toys, and drugs in that suitcase. And they try to do some weird act to get him to crack, but his lawyer shows up, so they pretty much have to let him go. Dalton finds his ring at the hotel, and he pockets it. Capra, Dalton, and Reese have drinks that night, and Dalton's acting weird. Yeah, of course he's jealous, but is he the killer? Capra goes and hooks up with Adele, and it rains. And then we see Sarah Keller just walking, being followed by the killer. And you know what? Sometimes you should break the rules and let someone in after hours.
Open the door, please! Please let me in, please!
The next day the cops have a meeting, and the captain says their pensions are on the line if they don't catch the killer. Also, Sarah Keller wasn't a user, so she wasn't a member of the sewing circle. She was just kind of like the chairperson of it, so it doesn't quite fit. Capra visits Adele at her art studio, and Reese tracks down Angel the pimp and brings him out to a lineup. But he can't identify Jordan because he's not wearing his tough guy jacket. He looks so different.
I think that's him, man. That could be him right there, number 4.
You positive?
On number 6. Man, I'm just not sure.
Adele says that drugs kept her and Dalton together and that he had a bigger habit than she did. Good to know the FBI has standards. And then Jordan gets a letter and hurries off. And then at Adele's hotel, the killer shows up and knocks out the doorman, and he has a key to Adele's room. It's Dalton. He's bothered that she's sleeping with Capra, and they argue, and he smothers her with a pillow, and then he puts Jordan's ring in her hand, and he goes to stab her with one of Jordan's knives, but he can't do it, because this is the woman that he loves, and he's separated from her, and he's obsessed with her, and he can't let her go. But then he finally does. Stabs her a few times for good measure. Then Dalton decides to go around the hotel, planting the knife here, putting bloodstains there, and Jordan shows up, enters the room, finds a dead Adele, and then sees the cops arrive. So he goes in hiding mode, he makes it up to the roof, and then Capra shows up, finds Dalton in the room, and a dead Adele, and Jordan's ring. Everything adds up, must be Jordan. So Dalton goes looking for Jordan, finds him on the roof, and shoots him to death.
Hey! All right, don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Then he takes the letter and plants the glove. Smart man. And then he goes back to the room to find Capra just sitting there drinking. That's some good police work there, buddy. Your girl's dead. Why don't you just have a drink? And he tells him that he killed him. And then later we find out he resigns. The next day, Capra visits Dalton at his home, and he's inheriting Adele's estate, which has got her family pissed. But they were separated, not divorced. It still counts. Then they go out for drinks, and Reese shows up with a clue. One knife was missing from evidence. And then they decide to go to Adele's work, just hanging out, Capra and Dalton, shooting the shit.
The ring was a big mistake, pal. In what way?
Overkill.
Just a little too neat, it got me thinking. A knife that wasn't in the property room.
Then a gunfight breaks out, and they shoot each other. The bullet wounds don't stop Dalton from explaining how he did it. You would think for an FBI agent, though, he would know how many bullets he had, and that he was out. Well, he did have the best motive. The end. The director Ken Stein did go off to do one more movie after that, so this didn't sink his career. The next one did. Ray Sharkey, who played Capra, went on to do 12 more projects in the next 2 years before dying at the early age of 40. David Beecroft, who played Dalton, went on to do a ton of work after this, but mostly B movies and some television appearances. The one I want to see is the one he did the same year, The Shadow Zone. Tania Coleridge went on to do a Van Halen music video called Pound Cake, and then nothing after.
You know what? I think you're a little rough on it.
Probably the biggest breakout star in this was Michael Chiklis, who went on to do The Shield and Fantastic Four and a bunch of other projects. Too bad he had to lose his hair. It's a shame. In the end, this is almost what I wanted from a movie called The Rain Killer. I mean, he killed 2 people and they started calling him a serial killer. I think he killed 4 people by the end of the movie. There should have been a higher body count. It should have been a threat like, hey, your pensions are on the line if you don't catch this guy, because he might kill another guy eventually. Like, come on.
Well, here they are, 007. Scumbags on parade.
What's this, the comic relief?
No, this is the cream of the crap, pal.
You don't think we're gonna find a guy in this bunch?
They fit the general description.
All right, who's got the smallest dick?
I enjoyed the relationship between the captain and Capra. You see Capra drinking in the stalls, and the captain's like, hey, what's up? How's it going down there? Hey, can I have some of that? And then later he's just like, get out there and find him. Like, why don't you put on a wig? Head out there, get felt up by Dalton like that girl did. See how you like it. So I can't recommend that you don't watch this because it's not that bad. They tried. It's right there in the middle. I hear it has a bit of a cult following out in Europe, which is weird, but, enjoy it. That's what it's for. Well, as always, thanks for watching.